pledge of allegiance. Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If I may make a public service announcement to start, and just a note, especially for those at home, all exemption applications and renewals are due by March 1st, either in the office upstairs or they have to have a postmark for March 1st for this next tax cycle. Any questions, please contact our assessor's office. And I'd just like to compliment our assessor's office, Betsy, Michelle, and Diane, for the work that they have been doing with the residents who have come in and handling them in a proficient manner and whittling down through the list that we have. I'd also like to thank Sue Horton and Lindsay Boyer for the excellent job that they did with the taxes this past season. I know we still have a little more to go, but I compliment the two of you for the job that you did. Thank you very much. A report from the audit committee.
We reviewed bills and find them sufficient to be paid.
Thank you very much, David. Public comment period, which is something new we've added to the workshops, and primarily we're just trying to go with what's on tonight's agenda. But we listened to what was said at the last town board meeting, and we are trying to be more responsive to what is asked of us. Public comment period is open. Okay, since there's anyone from the board care to make a public comment? Thank you very much. Okay, now move to discussion items. And a very important topic is the current employee handbook, which June has made great strides on. We have copies here. I did something to the copier upstairs today, so we're limited on being able to copy items. So I have one here. Any of the board members would care to take a look at it, but it is impressive in what it says in it and what we are trying to push forward to get up online. June, would you care to say anything about this?
We're close,
You're very close.
very
You're
close.
very close to an accomplishment. The job that you've done.
Couple like other little things need to be tweaked, but I think we're in the home stretch. I have enlisted the help of a town resident to proofread for me. I don't know if she realized it's as big as it is, but we're gonna go with that. So a couple more changes just need to be done, and then I'll hand it over for somebody, because I've looked at it so many times, it's just, you don't see the mistakes sometimes.
If you want to send it to me, I'll proofread it when you're ready.
Thank you. Anyone else care to say anything about the employee handbook?
I know I sent
I'm sorry.
that email late today, so I wasn't figuring ready to read it, but for consideration as to hiring practices for the town. It was discussed with last September, but I don't think we ever came to a consensus. So I think we do need to have more concrete hiring policies and procedures, and now seems like the right time to have that discussion. So it wasn't,
You won't mind that email?
Yeah.
I sent?
I think there's like 6 or 7 bullets
Thank you, sir.
for discussion.
So that's not, and you didn't want to add the hiring practices to the town, you just want to make sure we discuss it.
No, I want it in the employee handbook, that's what I'm suggesting. While we're doing this.
He sent out an email
Yeah,
in September
Okay.
that I replied to, so once you read that, I think I'll submit my response to that too, so you can see.
Anyone else? David? Frank? Jim? Okay, so we are moving along, we'll continue to, and then we'll have an update for you at our town board meeting. Or is that, you want to go to the workshop? When do you want to bring it back up again? When you're ready.
That we should,
Take it.
this should, Eric's
Thank you.
issue should be addressed at the next meeting, so we know if we're gonna add that or not.
All right, next item up is looking to put in a small ramp in front of this entrance door up here to try and prevent future falls by residents, myself. I have tripped there, but there was a resident approximately 3 weeks ago that was entering to come in and conduct some business in town, and she tripped on the threshold going in, and she fell to the concrete, or fell to the floor in the entranceway and banged her head. She shook it off, but that's something I think we should definitely talk seriously about putting just a small ramp in. Bob Dorr was gracious enough to come over, size it up. The ramp that he's proposing would go the full width of the door plus a little bit towards Sue's planter wall, so as to prevent somebody's foot when they step to the side from sliding down between the brick wall and the edge of the ramp. I might be taking a very conservative and safety-minded approach, but I would hope that the board would at least consider it and allow us to put that ramp in. If that's,
How's that gonna work coming off the other way though, when you're coming out the door?
it's a very, very slight ramp and just enough to cover, what was that, 4 inch or 3.5 inches or something, just to be a slight, you would be stepping on the ramp coming down and it would not be a major, and it wouldn't be a long ramp either. I'll get a schematic from Bob Dorr and have that for our next meeting and distribute it to all the town board members for review. And it's not just for the handicap, it's primarily for any resident coming in, maybe not noticing the slight rise and just if they're gonna fall and keep somebody safe, that's all. David?
We
please.
talked a little bit about this, but I don't think it's a good idea for a couple of reasons. One, we have an elevator, and so people who really need to get up and down stairs, they can use that. But I don't think a lot of people know that we have an elevator. And today I was at town hall, and there were 3 people coming out, and elderly people, and they were having a little trouble with the stairs, and I asked them if they knew that there was an elevator here, and they said, no, there's an elevator here? Nobody knew. So I think if we put some signage up, some of it in the building, so that before they start going down the stairs to the clerk's office, that there's an elevator over there, they can come down that way if they want to, but we also should have a sign outside saying elevator around the front of the building, and so people know. The other thing is, when you just described this ramp, is that there are certain sort of architectural standards that architects know for safe stairs in terms of tread height and all that. And it kind of sounds like to me that this may not be an acceptable solution from a safety point of view. I think we should look into that and maybe even see if we know an architect who's willing to consult with us for free if this is a recommended practice, because as June said, when you're coming down, what do? Stairs are sort of designed in a sort of standard way, and I think we should look into that before we start thinking about putting in a ramp.
Thank you, David.
You're
Will
welcome.
do. Appreciate your input. Eric?
And you're talking about from where it becomes concrete to where you walk into the town hall proper.
Just a slight ramp, just like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, that's the spot. It's a little.
Frank? No, if you care to say it.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking that, maybe at a minimum, put some sort of light or color, just in the meantime, just so that, because it's one of those things, I think if you don't see it right away, you're coming up 4 or 5 inches. And I'm questioning to myself whether or not when I walk out, because my foot would be hitting and then be leaning forward onto the ramp. So I'm not sure about that. Like, I think Dave's point about the architectural standards is good, but at a minimum, we can say, watch your step, and put some sort of like a reflective switch, thing on the bottom that we could do tomorrow for a couple of hours.
You could at least have like the reflective safety too.
Yeah,
That's
that's-
supposed to be for your steps.
Right on the bottom, at least right now, and just.
Andy? Any thoughts, comments?
Concur with Dave, probably have a professional look at them from a safety standpoint.
June?
You may want to check with America's Disability Act because they actually give a angle, a maximum approved angle.
Yes, sir.
So your rate of rise for so many feet. So just check that standard. Tracy Church might be able to help work with you on that.
Thank you very much. Yes, we have looked at that aspect, yes. Anybody else? Thank you, one and all. Okay, may we go to discussion on the county emergency plan?
Yeah, this is my next endeavor, and I'm glad that Dan is here because he was going to help me come up with some information that I needed to really update this since it's so old. And if you have that, that's good. If not, it's a little short notice.
We're working on it.
Okay.
And you want to do this line by item or how you want to do this? There's some things in there, like we're talking, especially with the fire department, not having named
Right.
individuals, because in the volunteer sector, that could change quickly. Response functions, fire chief, instead of having a named individual, keep it as fire chief. And we've had some positions that have been eliminated, like captain of the ambulance.
Okay.
And when it comes to, especially when it comes to emergency frequencies, they're all on 800 frequency now. There is still the private emergency frequency of 4630 that the fire department maintains. We have a license for that, and we still maintain that license.
And then the dispatch, the 46.10,
That's no longer in use.
I'll get rid of that.
That's it. That's under 800s, the new 800 system.
So if we do go through, did you find anything with like the first page? Then just all the breakdowns were, I thought, okay. But then it was just when we got to, as long as your level 1, 2, and 3 incidents were acceptable. And then as we talked about that we were gonna do away with like the names and just put fire chief or
Right.
Poston Hill Fire Department assistant chief. So we still have assistant and then the captain.
We still, we had captains, but it's not captain of an ambulance. Because that's there specifically captain of the Poston Hill ambulance.
So we just have,
So
so we
just-
have a
can-
fire chief and assistant.
We have a fire chief and we have 2 assistant chiefs.
2 assistant chiefs. You need to go that far?
So that would be your command structure.
Okay.
And secondary phone, I believe that is that 9967, I don't believe is in service anymore.
Okay. I'm not sure that anybody uses a fax anymore.
Yeah, faxes are, they're still used, but
Seems the medical world still uses it.
Yes, very much so. Yeah, let me look at it.
So I thought we would do the same thing when it comes to the individuals here for town hall, instead of using names, we would just have a supervisor.
Generic.
Right.
you want to do radio on your C communication system, radio system to police frequency. Police are on 800 now. I don't think we have a base station at the highway garage.
So
If
do
it is,
away,
it's not operational.
okay, so do away with like the base station.
And then it says, with highway department frequency, I don't know if they've changed that, but the fire frequencies other than county, 4618, I don't believe that's being utilized. But 4630, we do utilize. And it says other radio frequencies, if any, ambulance 800, that's not utilized.
When you get a chance, you want to just email me or text me your marked up copy so I can make sure I have
Yes,
everything.
And I'll try to see if I can get frequencies.
Okay.
I know the police department, they've gone now to really encrypted stuff, so trying to get those frequencies can be difficult because they've now gone to encrypted radio communication.
Well,
So,
if that's something, maybe it shouldn't be included in here then anyway.
yeah, said when it comes to the police agencies, because it's under a whole nother revamping.
Okay.
So the radio systems are undergoing some new revamping, some upgraded in technologies and things of that nature. We're trying to eliminate some of the issues that we're encountering right now with the 800 system. Blind spots, dead areas, things of that nature. County is just redoing their whole computer-aided dispatch system, another multi-million-dollar endeavor that they're doing to upgrade that whole system in the county. So we're in flux on revamping the system with upgraded technologies.
And then obviously I have no idea about your trucks and gallons.
I will give you all those because
Okay.
they have all changed.
Okay, got it.
Is there something generic you can put in there, or are you required to put in that detail?
I can give you all the apparatus, that's not an issue, it's just like the main station, they've all changed.
Okay,
And the east station completely, they've all changed.
okay. Whatever you got.
Okay?
Please and thank you.
No problem.
And then we'll just do away with, obviously, all the emergency medical. And like, did you really think that, I didn't think it was like necessary for all the numbers for the firefighters and hazmat and police.
Yeah,
I mean,
'cause
that's all,
Yeah, that's in flux.
right.
That can change from year to year as membership rises and changes. And if you want it, I can most certainly get all
I
information.
don't
It's
think
not a
we should
problem.
commit to that one, like you say, everything is subject to change.
Unless you need something like that for grant writing or something to that effect, if you need numbers and stuff like that, that's not a problem.
Right, okay. Right. I'll leave that in your capable hands.
Yes,
Thank you.
you're welcome. I will include the apparatus in case you need that as part of your emergency plan of resources available
Okay,
in case that's needed part of your plan. So these are the local resources that are in town.
see, okay. Thank you.
So that's easy.
Thank you very much.
Is there anything in this plan that asks about like AEDs?
About what?
AEDs, like the defibrillator that we have here?
We have,
I know, but I mean, should we note that type of
if you want to put it,
thing?
we can put them in there under special equipment, that's not a
And then
problem.
we have one here. I don't know if that's part of what they're looking for.
I don't really know, I mean, this is so outdated. I don't know how this ever came about, honestly, anyway. If it's something that is required from Montauk County,
I can check with the Bureau, with the Bureau of Emergency Services, with Director Wilson.
Okay.
To see if this is something that is required. I can reach out to him.
That would be appreciated very much, Dan.
because somewhere along the line, I had heard that it had been updated, but we didn't have like an appropriate copy, so that's why we have
Okay.
this very, very old one.
I'll reach out.
Maybe we don't need anything.
What's that?
I said, maybe we don't need anything.
It's always good to have on file, you know, and have resources. Again, if you're going for, looking for grants or anything else like that, and emergency preparedness, and they ask in some of these grants, what are your resources? And
Right,
So here's our emergency plan, this is our resources, things like this.
even if we have the information on file. Thank you.
Anything else? Thank you. Thank you very much, June. Dan, thank you. David, thank you for that quote. Okay, next item up, we have final discussion, hopefully adoption of the Post and Kill Public Employer Emergency Plan. Which everyone has a copy, I hope.
So this had to be updated because of a couple different issues that came about from COVID and the change in New York state law. We hadn't updated but the emergency health plan, which now I have made the corrections. I ran it by DJ because it applied to him when he had the people out sick with COVID. He thought everything looked okay. Andy weighed in about the meetings and thinking that we were going to leave that alone. And so that's for your final read through and approval then for the board that maybe next meeting.
And by the next meeting, we mean our town board meeting is post workshop, or we'll give us 4 weeks for the workshop. Which you
That's up to Andy. What
recall.
At your discretion, you could do either. If you want to have it at a workshop, make sure it's on your agenda so the public can have a chance to comment on it. If it's at a regular board meeting, obviously the public can comment on anything, so you could do either.
Okay, I do have some questions. Okay. Any comments from anybody else on board?
How about we do questions at the town board meeting and then go for the final at the workshop? Okay,
I'd like to do that.
okay.
Thank you very
This
much.
was, right, this is where we talked about the COVID issue, right? So I misspoke at that town board meeting because just for my wife working at the county, what they do is, and I think I asked her tonight about it, she thinks it's based on the state, but don't quote us on that, was if you have 3 instances of COVID since COVID, you can, that's acceptable. I think I said 3 a year, which would be like 3 weeks off a year if you had COVID, but it's 3 for the duration. So if that's what the county follows, I'm not saying we should do that, but just as a measuring stick, if you're a county employee, my understanding is that if you have COVID 3 times, you got your 5 days. If you get COVID 4 times, you're out of luck. I think I said 3 times a year, so I just was wrong on that. I had one part of that right, not the other part, but
Thank you for explaining that.
I think the biggest part too and stuff is originally, during the height of COVID, it was like 14 days, I think, which the state law had changed now, it's only 5.
that's 5, yeah.
Okay, we need some more interesting reading to do. Frank, anything?
No,
Thank you. David? Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, next item up is discussion and moving towards adoption on the 2024 schedule of planning and zoning board fees.
So there were, suggestions from both the planning board and the zoning board for increase in the fees, which have been listed. And we were going to add another couple, maybe about the generator inspection and the driveway permit, pool fill up and special event fee that had become a discussion, and also now for insurance purposes has been brought up again. Andy mentioned it originally, and we need to look at the special use permits to make sure that we think that they're in line with how much is being charged.
Anybody have any comments? We'll start with the special use permit. And types, and then we can move on.
Which page you start on? That one?
As for that, and
Yeah.
that's 4 and 5 in fact. Let me get to the 4 and 5.
I mean, it's my feeling that the planning board and zoning board discussed their items quite a bit, and I feel that it's appropriate for their weigh-ins for what they thought were good. I'm fine with going along with what they suggested. It was just a couple of new things and about the solar.
Yeah, my question is on page 2 of 3, on the lower right, where the current major subdivision for newly constructed lots is 500 per lot, and then it says 500 for each new lot. What does the word new mean? What's the only difference there?
Newly created. Okay, you have your mate, and correct me if I'm wrong.
You're right.
Okay, you had, so we have the table, okay? And developer comes in and wants to cut it up into 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 pieces. They would pay 500 on lots 2 and above. The lot, they have the base lot, and that would, Andy, correct me if I'm not saying this in the proper fashion, but the added lots are what is going to incur the fee. The same as in a minor subdivision, the added lots are what incur the fees, not the first lot. But
That's certainly the way Post and Kill has set that up. So if you start with one lot and you're proposing, let's say, a 6-lot subdivision, Post and Kill views it as, well, you started with 1, now you'll have 6, so there's 5 new. Technically, the one that's existing is changed because there's a lot line adjustment. But Post and Kill has taken the approach of, if you start with 1 lot, a large lot, and you propose, let's say, a 6-lot subdivision, you're adding 5 lots. So we'll base our fee on the 5 new lots. That's how your fee schedule is set up, and that's fine. That's again within your discretion to do that.
Is there the other question is there a reason for the kind of dramatic increases in solar?
Solar came about just strictly because of commercial use. Whether it would ever really happen here, there were people that.
from NYSERDA, yes, NYSERDA was gracious to come in, did a very good presentation, and they also brought some diagrams, which I requested in getting in. That unfortunately in Post and Kill, we do not have any current lineage that would support the output from a commercial solar.
Right.
So it's not really feasible that it would ever happen anyway, but it was the board's thought that it should, if things change down the road, that it should be comparable to the cell towers.
Right. It just seems like we're going from 75 to 150, from 82 to 250, and from 500 to 5,000. Seems like an awful lot of increases.
500 is like the rezoning though, that's that's a PDD that wouldn't change anyway. It's just like adding on, it didn't have a type with it.
We had to assign that.
We had to assign the type. So when we assigned commercial solar to type 5, that matched the wireless towers. So you'll always have your $500 because it has to be like rezoned.
For your ag.
And again, this is commercial, but this is not, it's like small residential. Other questions? Okay, special event fees. Andy, is there anything that you care to mention regarding special event fees? No.
You had brought up that, I think I attached it somewhere along the line and everything about Albany's having a special event fee.
Yeah.
When the insurance company came in now, they also addressed it like that you should have something on file for who is coming into town, like what they're doing
Mhm.
for liability purposes, and maybe even having an additional insured added on to the policy.
So, as I sit here right now, I can't recall, does Post and Kill have any requirement currently or any type of permit, even administrative permit from the clerk or the building department for a special event? Something that should probably be looked at. And on that, usually that information would be required in terms of the application for the permit for the license to operate the special event. List out where, when, anticipated number of people, equipment, facilities, general site layout, parking, traffic flow, safety, sanitation, water, porta-john, and insurance. And a lot of municipalities will have a minimum and also require that the town be added as an additional insured on the insurance policy. Something we can look at.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the insurance people that spoke with us were pretty adamant that something should be in place.
Yes, that it was lacking. That is something, yeah, that we definitely take a look through.
Yep.
That is currently lacking in our.
So if the board would like, we can take a look at samples of what would amount to a local law to add to your code that would require a special event permit or license and what the requirements would be. The fee for that would be in your fee schedule, but we can put that together.
Thank you.
Give it to you in draft and you can review it and, comment on it.
Thank you very much. It would help with as we update, listen to what people from NYMER and, what the insurance have to say.
Maybe we can, I think that the generator inspection suggestion came from Tracy and the driveway from DJ, so maybe we can follow up with that and see, and the pool filler. That was questionable last time around, that was before Bill, I think, so maybe we want to check with him on that. Yes.
See what he's taking, it should be done. Okay.
And then other than that, if, since it will be a change to the code, if this is all acceptable, then
We'll put it in the form of a local law to amend your code, your fee schedules within your code.
I was just looking at this list here and we have wind in here too. Is is that treated similar to solar?
solar,
So that'll be from whatever it is to
on a
5,000
commercial,
on a commercial basis.
on a commercial basis. Please. Excuse me, I'm just making notes. Okay. The next item we have is the proposal by Lee Audio. I thank David for his input on this. Brought to my attention that the system that Lee Audio initially proposed was used a Chinese, it was a Chinese manufacturer with ties to the Chinese government that was on the federal government list of non-usage. I believe that was Duqua or
Something like that.
yeah, something Duqua. So I went back to Lee Audio and asked and told them that, and they came back with a revised proposal, and they've come up with Avicon and to replace our current system, which is non-operational at present time, and they had the specs are in the proposal, the quote that they come up with, and that was for 1734 is what they were looking for to purchase and install the new system and get our cameras up and working again and record it, everything that goes on. And they would be able to have that done within a couple of weeks, once we say go ahead with that.
Pretty much a necessity.
I think so too, but I'm not here to force anything on anybody. I just ask that they consider what it has done for us and what unfortunately it's not doing at the present time. And I ask that we act in an expedient manner to try and get this back in and get the system up and running and to keep track of what goes on back inside and outside the building.
So you
It
just
would be-
need a sense of consensus of the board. You don't need, you have the authority to go ahead with that, right? Or do you want us to vote on giving you the authority to sign the contract?
I wanted to bring up and discuss, I did not want to do anything behind your backs or anything in that fashion.
That's
I
fine.
thought the board was very important, and I wanted to get a consensus or whatever. But
Do we need
Should be
a
a motion.
motion?
To
I'll make a
authorize.
motion that we approve this purchase.
Second.
thank you very much. Thank you. Right? Okay, all those in favor of the purchase of the new DVR recording security system? Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you very much, one and all. Appreciate that. We'll be in touch with the audio tomorrow. Okay. David, I won't make this mistake 2 meetings in a row. I quickly turn it over to you.
Well, I
sir.
guess you're now a veteran, not a rookie.
Oh, I'm still a rookie, Dave. I am still a rookie.
I move that we pay the general bills of $16,670.06.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining?
I move that we pay the water bills of $3,839.10.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? 5-0.
And I move that we pay the highway bills of $12,925.03.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone abstaining? 5-0 also. Thank you very much, David.
This was in our packet, but we need to do something about this.
We need to get a little more information from Brandon, because the list has changed greatly.
Oh.
But, and also just wanted to have Andy take a look at it too. Okay, we're just starting out, we have time, this would be for the next year, so we have time to look in this
Yes,
book. But we definitely need to put it on our list to do and go through it thoroughly and listen to the best of the dialogue. But initial list was much shorter, so to speak. And now we've all the names are on it, and we have time, and we'll just get it started instead of waiting to the very end and rushing through. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, that concludes the regular business section of tonight's workshop meeting. We now are going to ask to go into attorney-client private session to discuss a matter. And then after that, we will move into executive session. But first, we need to go into attorney-client private session. We need a motion for that. I mean, we should have a vote on that.
My suggestion would be if the board's gonna go into executive session, to move into executive session. Come out of your executive session, you can then close the meeting. The private session is that, it's not part of a public meeting, so
Thank you very much.
on that order.
Do I have a motion that we move into executive session?
And if I can, for the purpose,
Okay. For the purpose of
I have a personnel thing for executive.
personnel and,
okay,
I'm sorry, I thought there was another situation, but no, that would not classify. So it'll be June's personnel session. Thank you.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you very much, Eric. Okay, I'll second that motion. All those in favor of moving into executive session?
Aye. Aye.
Anyone opposed? Carries 5-0. We thank everyone very much for coming to tonight's meeting. And Dan, thank you very much for your input back and forth and the research that you're going to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna text into the bureau director, so we can get back to you.
Thank you.
Also, regarding your outdoor eventing, stuff like that, special event,